Good morning. Today is October 19th. Our article today is from Heads Up English. It's lower intermediate mini lesson, and it's about leisure. All right, Bernard, would you read the article for me?
Perfect.
Leisure.
Leisure. The word leisure comes from Latin and it means to be free. The idea of free time for relaxation, recreation, and hobbies likely became popular in Victoria, Britain.
I think
In
this is Victorian, and hobbies.
hobbies, Victoria.
Victorian.
In the early 1800s, factory workers often spent 18 hours at work, 6 days every week. As a result, life in urban areas was very harsh. However, society slowly changed and people began to work less. They also began, please scroll they also began to have a Saturday and Sunday free. There are many different ideas about leisure, and these ideas vary among societies and people. Some see leisure as much more active, like sports or exercise. Others see leisure as requiring mental effort, like writing stories or drawing pictures, and even some see leisure as much more relaxed, such as seeing a movie, watching TV, or eating out at a restaurant. Of course, there are also workaholics who see work as an enjoyable pastime.
This word is called workaholics. Workaholics.
Workaholic, workaholic,
Workaholics.
workaholics.
This word is similar to alcoholics.
Okay, alcoholic.
So when we think about what an alcoholic is, it is someone that does something to the excess in terms of drinking.
Yes.
So a workaholic is someone who works excessively.
Okay.
That's what a workaholic is.
Someone who is addict at
Exactly. Someone that is addicted to working. Okay. So, do you have any questions about the article that you just read about leisure?
No, it's an easy article for me,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So, it says we should discuss. So, let's just talk. How do you actually relax? What do you do to relax?
Or in fact, when I read the article, I try to use all the means they discuss about the article. Sometimes I like to work. I like gardening. I like spending time in front of my computer. I like I like a bike in the mountains. I like the swimming pool. Even sometimes, but rarely, I like reading. But most of the time, it seems to me a loss of my time when I read because it's so long.
Okay. So here we're going to just go down to where it says the discussion, which fits your idea of leisure. Is it active, requiring mental effort, or relaxed, and why? Even though you just said some of the things that you do, such as riding a bike or even reading,
Yes.
if you have your choice, are you more an active person for relaxing or passive?
I think if I have the choice, I will be active.
Okay. How do most people in your country spend their free time?
Well, I suppose that most of the people around me choose a different way to relax, to their leisure times. Some of them, like me, are active. Others spend a lot of time in their armchair, reading or doing nothing.
Okay. So
But
perhaps perhaps a lot has to do with what where this person is in their life. For example, if the person is retired, they may spend their leisure time a little differently than someone who has to go to work Monday through Friday. So here I have two words, harsh and hobbies. What is a hobby? What exactly is a hobby?
A hobby is something you like to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pleasure of your life. You could have a hobby to bike, for example. You
Mm-hmm.
could have a hobby to go to the cinema. Your hobby could be going to the cinema. Your hobby could be reading. Your hobby could be learn English.
Mm-hmm.
uh, yes, it's something you like really.
Okay.
You really like.
And then what does the word harsh actually mean?
Harsh is something very strong, very difficult. For example, the workers in the 19th century are very harsh work, which means a very difficult work with a lot of hours of working with a difficult way to spend to earn money. It was a harsh life.
Mm-hmm. Something difficult. And we can use this word harsh if the weather is very cold. We could say that we are having or experiencing a harsh winter. All right. Just for the sake of it, let's see if we can see if you can talk for at least 1 full minute. And looking at these comprehension questions, I know you understand the article, but I'd like for you to try to use the vocabulary that's in the question, true or false, and talk about this article. And it would sound something like this. In this article, the word leisure comes from the Latin word, or the word leisure is not Latin. However, in the 1800s, people worked 18 hours each day, or people in the 1800s did not work very much at all. Whatever the true answer is, incorporate the true or false answer into your speaking. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes, I
Okay.
think.
All right, you may begin.
The idea of leisure comes from Latin, and in the Latin language, it must it must it means leisure to be free.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 1980s, people usually work 18 hours each day, and they were not people with a lot of leisure. They work very harsh. But today, leisure varies from society to society as well as from person to person. Of course, if you are a rich person, the leisure could be very expensive for you. You could travel a lot around the world, but if you are with less money, you can spend your spare time in the garden or in the club to play cards and stay at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
A general definition states that work is one form of leisure. For many people who are addicted to work, when they have a spare time at home, they prefer to work again because it's like a drug. They will work alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So all of these answers were true.
Thank you. You're very generous for me.
Well, you did all the work. Well, this was a very short article, and it was one that you clearly understood and was able to read very easily. And I only pointed out that the words that starts with H, I think, were the ones that gave you the difficulty. So I will read the article Leisure. The word leisure comes from Latin, and it means to be free. The idea of free time for relaxation, recreation, and hobbies likely became popular in Victorian Britain. In the early 1800s, factory workers often spent 18 hours at work, 6 days every week. As a result, life in urban areas was very harsh. However, society slowly changed and people began to work less. They also began to have Saturdays and Sundays free. There are many different ideas about leisure, and these ideas vary among societies and people. Some see leisure as much more active, like sports or exercise. Others see leisure as requiring mental effort, like writing stories or drawing pictures. And even some see leisure as much more relaxed, such as seeing a movie, watching TV, or eating out at a restaurant. Of course, there are also workaholics who see work as an enjoyable pastime. All right, so that takes us to the end of our reading. We looked at, in the discussion, which fits your idea of leisure. Now let's talk about number 2. Can you read number 2 and tell me what your opinion is as an answer?
Do you think that people will work more or less in the future? Why? I suppose that in the future, people work less than today, and surely there won't be enough work for everyone. It's already the case today. Most of people, 10% in France, doesn't work because there hasn't enough work for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
With the growing of population around the world, I suppose the work will be very rare in the future. And also because the technology and the robots will take the place of the human's being.
Work as we currently know it will be different based upon what you just said, primarily because of technology. People, what do you think about people working more from home so they won't, it's not necessary for them to go to an office? People will be able to work from home with the use of technology. So I think that this is going to change the way people interact, the way people learn, and engage themselves. Do you have any questions before I stop the recording?
No, it was interesting and
okay. All right, I'm going to stop the recording for a moment. I'm going to